Well, that's the kind of title that draws you in. Writing handbooks are so weird. Because it's like, here's how you do this thing that, I don't know. Anyway, here's what worked for me. No one can really say. Every writer writes differently. I mean, you can talk about establishing good habits and, how sentences work and cite examples from effective pieces of writing. Yeah, I guess there's a lot to say. I wrote that writing handbook recently. I showed briefly on here. And I think about that stuff. I have that handbook I wrote grew out of me just having rules. And I was like writing them down and putting them in a file. I'm like, I'm always going over these things, I bet I forget them. Because, yeah, I totally do. So I'd be like, put like with like and add a few words. And soon after a while, it was like, this is a big enough file. I could add stuff to this and make it a book. And then get lots of money. But I haven't gotten to that money stage yet. I mean, I was hoping it would be a quick, like, cash sellout, real quick, like Natalie Goldberg did it with Writing Down the Bones, give me that money. Give me. And because I can't really give any of my literary friends or connections the giant book that I've been working on for 15 years because it's not done yet. And I want to make a big splash with the manuscript finished. Random House looked at several of my chapters a long time ago, back when I had an agent that I stupidly fired just because I didn't think she was doing anything. But at least I had an agent. That was dumb. Anyway, but during that time, Random House looked at all the chapters I had written, and they were like, these are great, but we just don't see how they connect yet, and we'd like to see a finished manuscript. So cut to like several years later now, and I'm still working on the thing. But I love to read books about writing. Let's see, what's this one about? Words, sentences, style, and technique. An essential guide to one of today's most necessary skills. Lively art of writing. And then there's this thing. You could put anything on the cover, and they did this. Why? I guess it's fine. Oh, there's a typewriter. Okay, so it's like an abstract flower growing. I guess I get the symbols. But my first thought was jester hat, so I don't know. Maybe that was like a Rorschach test. I just told myself. I think I'm a fool dancing for pennies. That's the job of a writer. Well, one of them. Anyway, students, teachers, businessmen, aspiring authors, complaining consumers all have one thing in common. The need to express successfully ideas, opinions, arguments, problems, explanations. Choosing a subject, working with words, the sound of sentences, the power of paragraphs, essentials of style, essays, theses, and term papers, and much, much more. One of these days I'm going to open a book and it'll be a portal. You will see a paranormal event. I'll disappear. Don't we all hope for magic stuff like that? Like, I was working at this rug place, delivering and picking up rugs, and sometimes having to clean the darn things. And, I was always hoping we get a magic one. We never did. It was very sad. I thought, well, I guess the world is as gray as I thought. Anyway, this one looks cool. Mind Your Language. Ivor Brown, an informal and informative guide to simple language, overworked adjectives, slang, and dialect words, British versus American slang, newspaper journalese. I feel like anyone that reads these kind of books probably reads them as part of like a spree of reading these kinds of books. That's how I end up reading them anyway. I feel like I should read more stuff about language. It is satisfying sometimes because it's this stuff that we're dealing with all the time as writers. Words, sentences, the elements of style, the elements of everything. I probably read this and should reread it. I don't know. Maybe I've just skimmed it. I have had this paperback thesaurus since I was at college when I was 17 and 18 years old. And it's my most commonly used thesaurus, and I use it all the time. And that sticker is from a bagel place in Boulder, Colorado, where my friend Kim was from. She gave like hundreds of those out to everyone on campus. I don't know how it got a hole in it, but that's pretty cool. Might need a little taping up, though. A little tender maintenance. Yeah, my thought on thesaurus has always been have a simple one. And that's not just because I have had a simple one for a long time, but that it's like, if I'm looking for an alternate word for magic, it's probably not going to be like prestidigitation or something like that, like you're going to want to keep yourself still like understandable generally. Like a thorough thesaurus is cool, but like a simple one like this, back in the days of writing at a PC, this was one of just a couple books I had near the computer. And I still consult it once in a while. Though I'd probably be quicker to go to a phone. I don't really use thesauruses much. Um, this one I read a couple of times. What have I gotten out of it? Could I give even a sentence or two of takeaways from this? I've read it. I've marked it up. I could revisit my marginalia and underlinings. This has been a badly treated book. I'm sorry, book. It's taped up too. I think sometimes when books start getting taped up, then I give up on them, and I'm like, you're allowed to get marked up a little more. Though I just don't think I would use a pen in a book ever again. I think I would never do that again. Robbe-Grillet is cool, but I think I've DNF'd this book a couple of times. It's kind of defeated me. Or I read it and retained nothing, and then afterward thought, like, did I even read that? But look at that beautifully designed book. Man, you can always count on a Robbe-Grillet book to look awesome. I wonder if he has any role in that. Notes for a new novel. Yeah, his rules for a novel are crazy. Like, no symbolism. Purely literal. Don't read into symbolism. No, I'm sure they're good too. I mean, he's really a great experimental writer. I love Robbe-Grillet's writing. Jealousy is such a good book. You got to read that book, everybody. It's just a treat of strangeness. Your brain will be different afterward. You've never read rooms described so thoroughly or the first-person voice approached in this way. Essays on fiction. And when I hear essays on fiction, I think they're the exact same as essays on nonfiction. There's always nonfiction takeaways. You know, it's all about story, in my opinion. I feel like the differences between the two are arbitrary and like based on trends almost. It's like how much summary does one contain and how much scene, and vice versa. Cool. The use of theory, a future for the novel, on several obsolete notions, nature, humanism, tragedy. Yeah, that was what's cool about the French New Wave is they love to talk about what they were doing and like break it down. And I appreciate that. Poetics, as they say. All those magazines and film, cahiers du cinema, and literature, other things. Kind of cool. He talks about his career. So if you like his books, like it's pretty awesome. Probably the only time these two ever hung out, Robbe-Grillet and Eudora Welty. But they'd have probably been friends. I don't know. It's just be funny. One writer's beginning. Oh, this one's as fresh and welcome as magnolia blossoms in May. Well, that's why I got this then. Okay. Dude, that book is as fresh and welcome as magnolia blossoms in May. Yeah. Miss Welty presents her life as if it were one of her stories, so the book is something more than a brief autobiography. It is a lesson by one of our best writers in how to look at life, how to see it. Oh, this sounds amazing. As an art form, not a chronicle, but a drama. Wow. Okay, that's why I have that. Also, this one was inherited from my sister Leanne in a box of books at her death. You'd think I would have prioritized reading it, huh? I probably did read this. I think I read it. Just don't remember it much. Maybe I didn't, but I will. I'm no snob. I might not swear on this channel because my students and children might watch it. This is a cool looking book. Asking the big questions about swearing. A general analysis of dirty words. That's a great idea. Seems